invited down there. If everyone could find a chair or decide to stand. I think we're good. Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I'm really excited about tonight. My name's Evan Wimpey. My name's not Evan Wimpey. My name's Daniel. I used to work with Evan on the third floor of this building at Elder Research. And I just want to say that I'm really grateful to Evan for providing this service to a field that is in dire need of it. I think there's a real scarcity of humor in science. And I just want to share a really quick anecdote for how it would have helped me if he had done this, I don't know, 8 years ago. This is a story that some of you may have heard, so I'll try and sprinkle in some little details for you so it stays a little fresh. So I started working at Elder Research right after high school. I was young, inexperienced, handsome data scientist. That's one of those new details. And not too long after I started, we were invited to come to a dinner for a very important client, what would turn out to be a really, really important client for the office. And at this dinner were some critical people. There was the CEO of the client was there. And this is a client that did billions of revenue. This is a big company. The CFO was there. The CIO was there. The head of HR was there. There was a lot of people who made a lot more money than I did at this dinner. And at some point, I guess the CEO got bored. I don't know. And he said, "Does anyone know any good jokes?" And the way he said it and the direction he was looking made clear that he was asking the people that he was deciding whether or not to give a lot of money to do data science, and they knew any jokes. To which the answer is obviously no. We don't know any good jokes. And for reasons that I'll never understand, that isn't what we said. My friend, my purported friend and colleague, who was on the same team as me for this dinner, said, "Daniel knows a great joke." And I really didn't. And the problem was that I had recently told Jen a joke before this dinner. And because I knew that I had told her that joke, and because I knew that's what she was referring to, I couldn't think of any other joke. My brain was totally empty. And so I'm going to tell you that joke real quick, and you can decide. It's kind of a joke, it's kind of a riddle. How do you think the unthinkable? Just give me a second. No, that's better. How do you think the unthinkable? Well, the answer is with an iceberg. And so that's why, wherever I go now, I always, on my person, have a copy of predictable jokes. I don't really have a copy, but I wish I had one then. So I've talked for long enough. I'm going to welcome Evan Wimpey to the stage, award-winning comedian. He's traveled all over the world on vacation.
Fantastic. Yeah, beautiful. Fantastic. What a beautiful crowd. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. I really did not expect it. I appreciate so much that you guys are out here. I really love the support. Really happy that you guys are able to come out tonight. Captions are auto-generated. So I've been watching a lot of Netflix comedy specials, and I always watch with the subtitles on. And I've noticed that every single comedian that gets a Netflix special always starts their set with captions are auto-generated. It's the first joke they always say. I don't think it's that funny. I don't even get the joke, but I am a data science comedian, okay? So I start collecting that data. It's pretty easy to draw an inference there. You want a Netflix special, you gotta start your set with captions are auto-generated. There you have it, that's my opener. It's It's odd. These comedians, they all purport to say that you're not supposed to steal other people's jokes. I don't know who the first guy who came up with that one is, but he's probably pretty upset about it. And in comedy, they say it's a sin to steal other people's material. Whereas in data science, we call that best practices. That's what we do. That's what I do. I do data science. Do the intersection of data science and comedy. It's a small Venn diagram. There's not a lot of intersection there. Happy that you guys are here in that little intersection of that Venn diagram with me. Happy that I can make Venn diagram commentary with you guys here. It was not always obvious to me I was going to get into data comedy. It's not my dream as a child because it's not a thing. But I first I studied economics. I got a degree in economics. I was considering a career in economics comedy. There's no demand. So a little pivot, did some reading. I read data science. It's the sexiest job of the 21st century. I thought, hey, all right, that's good for me. I need all the help I can get. So I went back to school. I went to school right down the street here, NC State. Too sweet? All right. Studied advanced analytics, came out, became a data scientist. I did not get any sexier, but I was a data scientist. And as a data scientist, I was such a bad data scientist. I was terrible. I was a really bad data scientist. I didn't know it either. How are you supposed to know that? I don't know. I was building these models. I thought they were pretty good. I'd show my colleagues. I'd say, hey, check out this model I built. Say, Evan, what is this, a joke? So here I am. It wasn't all bad. I mean, I was a bad data scientist, but I had one model. It was really good. One of the first models, actually. One of the first models I ever built ended up being really, really good. It wasn't the first model I ever built, because the first model I ever built was the same as the first model that all of you built. Who will survive the Titanic? Which, I don't know why so many people, the crash happened over 45 years ago, and sure, you'd think there's other important research topics to be studying, but I get it, it's important, we want to bring closure to the families, so I'm glad we're still working on it, but I didn't build a good model there, but my next model was a good one. It was a stock picking model. Picking stocks in the market, ups and downs, bears and bulls. My model was predicting a single stock. It would predict whether it would go up or down the next day. And the trend, what everybody wants to do is these huge, complicated models, fancy neural network architecture, 1,000 different features. Not me. Simple-minded man here. Simple model for a simple man. 3 features. That's all it took. 3 features. I built such a simple model, only 3 features, 90% accurate. 90% accurate, predicting whether a stock would be higher or lower the next day. Now, for those of you not in the market, maybe it's not clear, 90% accurate, that's like a money printing machine, okay? That is like a guaranteed winner, okay? And because you guys have laughed at a few of my jokes, I'll tell you what the 3 features are. All right? You don't even need a pen and paper to write them. It's just 3. Just 3. You just remember them. A monkey can remember 3 things. The first is the stock price yesterday. We're seeing a trend here. The second, the stock price today. The third, the stock price tomorrow. That's all it took. With those 3 features, spent months building, fine-tuning, validating this model. I poured in my heart, all my data science acumen, all my statistical prowess into this model, and it is only forgetting 10% of tomorrow's stock prices. This one I was proud of. This one I went back to my colleagues and said, hey, check out this model. They said, Evan, that's a league from the future, which means I'm like way ahead of my time, like super advanced. Yeah, I was proud of him. That was a good one. That was good. I traded that model for a while. And now I'm a comedian. Data science stuff. I was a bad data scientist. I keep saying I was a bad data scientist, I'm gonna clue you in, I did not become a good data scientist. I didn't get better at data science. I'm actually, was such a bad data scientist, I'm not a data scientist anymore. I was such a bad data scientist that I got promoted to director. It's rough. Data scientists, I feel like I'm making like very acute problems, very specific challenges for people. And now as a director, I'm just like chaos for everything that I come in contact with. I used to be a lightning strike, and now I'm a hurricane. And it's great. You want your work to have an impact. And I get a lot of feedback from a lot of folks. My work has an impact. They call and complain all the time. Yeah, so I feel good about that. I do want to defend the data science industry. Are there any engineers in the crowd? Data engineers, software engineers? Okay, one hand went up quickly. A bunch of reluctant, like, don't ask me any questions. I'm not gonna. Look, data scientists get a bad rap for having bad software engineering practices. Deploying notebooks, no documentation. Nobody who reads documentation. Look, I was a terrible data scientist. I got promoted straight to director. And that is straight out of the engineering best practices. That's an engineer playbook right there. Do not let this guy touch the code anymore. Get him out. Yeah, so I don't touch the code very much anymore. I have different problems. The hard thing for me now is communicating. Communicating in data is tough. Data is almost like a foreign language. Trying to communicate, you run into a lot of struggles. I had a client I was working with last year. They worked for this organization that was like a membership-based organization. They would try to get people to join various memberships. And I was working with their sales team. I had 3 or 4 meetings with their sales director. And I was the dumbest data scientist, and I became the data science director. Can you just imagine how dumb a sales director must be? So I'm meeting with this guy. I'm meeting with the sales director. He calls me at the beginning of 4th quarter last year, says, Evan, we need help. I said, okay, data team is here to support. You let me know what can we do. So we're dying. Our sales are way down this year. We got 1 quarter. We really need to come alive. I said, okay, data team's here to support. What can we do? He says, Evan, we need new members. We need new joins. Said, joins? Okay. Okay. The data team can support that. We can get you joins. Now, I got to warn you, we're going to need SQL. He said, that's great. We've got SQL. You can use SQL and get us joins? Has anybody ever worked in sales before? Yes. SQL is a common acronym in sales. Stands for Sales Qualified Lead. It's somebody who's not a customer yet, but looks like they could become a customer. It's a good potential customer. And so he's super excited. Yeah, you can use our SQL to get us joins. That's fantastic. Yeah, okay, great. Hey, what do you need to join? You just tell me what you need to join. That threw him a little bit. It's join customers. Evan, join customers. So great, found your customers table right here. What do you want me to join it to? Join it to, just need to join customers. So great, well, it's a little tricky here. If we're joining customer, if we're doing a self-join, we have a chance we might duplicate customers. We might end up duplicating. It says, wait. The data team can use SQL to get us joins, and they will double customers. I said, yeah. Absolute data team can absolutely support that. He was so excited. Never seen somebody so excited in a meeting. So data team hopped to it. A week later, we broke all their production databases. All their sales reporting was ruined. We actually double billed all of their customers. Yeah. I didn't get new customers. We're actually churning a lot of the customers that they already had. Yeah, the sales director calls up. He's furious. He's fuming. He's screaming. I said, I did exactly what you told me. He said, this is not right. This is not good. We need our sales numbers to go up. You're losing us customers. I said, let me explain to you a little something about SQL. Because you see, when I became director, I realized that the best way to resolve the tremendous problems that I myself caused is to be really condescending. So I was going after him. I was talking to him like a kindergartner, telling him what SQL was. He said, you and your whole company are fired. Don't come back anymore. No, don't come to any more sales meetings. I said, that's a left outer join. So communication stuff. At first, you might want to think that communication stuff everywhere. It's not just data, it's everywhere. But my last job, communication was straightforward, was super direct. At my last job, I used to be I feel like I don't need to say it. I'm basically like a walking stereotype of this job. I'm sure you all know exactly what it was. Obviously, I was a Marine, I was in the Marine Corps. Very common transition, Marine to comedian. But I was in the Marine. Don't worry. I see some frumpled faces. Don't worry. They were actual, real Marines, tip of the spear, trying to take it. I was a finance Marine. Okay, I was the tip of the calculator. They did not issue me a rifle. I was issued an Excel spreadsheet. That's it. So, but as a Marine, communication was very straightforward, very direct. We were very SQL adjacent, structured query language. I mean, that's perfect for us because we get selected and you have to join. You're oftentimes grouped by. You're always ordered by. Depending on your rank. A lot of SQL overlap in the Marine Corps. A lot of SQL overlap. I thought I was going to make a career out of it. I did 4 years in the Marine Corps, and it just got a little too heavy for me. I watched the war movies growing up. I read Catch-22 a bunch of times. I thought there was just one part of being a Marine that was just a little too much for me, and it's all the haircuts. It's all the hair. The haircuts are tough. It's every week. It's every week a new haircut. It's tough. It's can you imagine go to the dentist every week and the drills? It's the same thing, but it's on the side of your head. Just it's up. Not every Marine has to get a haircut every week. There's the special operations guys. They can grow their hair out and look more like this. But if you take a variable, you pick a variable. You take any variable you want, and you plot the Marines on that variable. You get a nice distribution. And on this tail of the distribution over here are the special operations guys. Yeah, and actually the other tail over here, this tail is the finance Marines. That's the haircut side of the distribution over there. I was on that side. So I spent 4 years. I learned a lot of great life lessons, a lot of great people that I met in the Marine, real heroes that I met in my own professional idol I met in the Marine Corps. He's sort of like a black sheep Marine like me. He wasn't in finance, he was in IT. He served as the IT help desk. And we worked together for this group. It was about 3,000 Marines. He was the only one that was the IT help desk. And these 3,000 Marines, they're calling up, and when they have IT issue, any kind of technology issue, they're calling him. And we're talking all kinds of things that can break. We've got communications equipment, we've got networking, we've got computers, we've got radios, there's weapon systems, aircrafts. They all call him, and he always knows exactly what to say. I was just so impressed with this guy. He just knew exactly what to say. And exactly what to say was, well, turn it off and turn it back on. This guy, I shared an office with this guy for 2 years. I listened to him take 1,000 phone calls. That's the only thing the guy ever said. He's retired. He's collecting a retirement paycheck from the Marine Corps. He never has to work again, and that's the only thing he ever had to learn in his entire career was turn it off and turn it back on. I mean, how could you not idolize a guy like that? It's incredible. I'm eyes wide open. I'm looking for the turn it off, turn it on of data science. I would just love to write out my career knowing only one sentence. I thought I had it. I thought I had it. For a while, it was working. It was throw it in a boosting model. So, hey, Evan, we're looking at customers and we're wondering who could throw it in a boosting model. Evan, this new marketing campaign with a boosting model. Use a boost, throw it in a boosting model. And it was great. I thought it was doing great. But now there's a new sentence. It's ask ChatGPT. And It's working pretty well. It's working pretty well. The space is moving so fast. I don't know if I'll be able to ride out an entire career with just the one sentence. So I'm always looking. Always looking. Until then, I'm trying to do work. And yeah, my colleagues are laughing. They know I don't do work. My favorite thing to do, my favorite part of my job is when I get a chance to teach. Love teaching, super rewarding. I particularly love teaching to people that have no background at all in data or analytics. That's hard to hold me accountable for anything that I say to those people. It's great. But a couple of years ago, we were working with a corporate client. They had a group of people, about 20 people. They were taking sort of like an intro to data science class. This is good. This is me. They don't know anything. I can say whatever I want. And they were locked on. They see the writing on the wall. They see how powerful data is. They want to learn this stuff. So about once a week, I would go and teach for an hour and a half. And they're engaged. They're asking great questions. They're doing side projects. The 5th class we have, we're teaching clustering. I'm going to teach clustering to them. So I show up. It's live. It's in person. It's crazy. And I introduce clustering, and my phone rings. But I'm a professional. I don't answer my phone. Then it rings 8 more times. And we all have these classification models that we run for various things in our life. We have a classification model for what's urgent and what's not urgent. I feel like I got a pretty high threshold for my what's urgent classifier. My wife calls 9 times in 90 seconds. Okay, we've breached the threshold. This is now urgent. So I tell the class, look, I'm so sorry. Take out your textbook. Turn to chapter 5. It's a clustering chapter. Read these sections. Work these practice problems. I'll be right back. So I take my phone. I go run outside. And I trust the students. They've been really engaged. I go outside. I call my wife back. She's hysterical. She's super upset. Our kid got in trouble at school that day. She didn't know what to do. Our kid has never gotten in trouble before. Finally get her calmed down, say, we'll talk about it when I get home. We'll handle it when I get home. And I hang up and I go back inside. 10 minutes tops have gone by. And I look out. Nobody has opened their clustering book. Nobody has worked a single clustering problem. I guess they just were not ready for unsupervised learning. So my kid really did get in trouble. I had to go home to my wife that day or that evening. And my kid was in trouble. My kid, this is a very anomalous behavior. He's in 2nd grade at the time, and he's the kind of kid we gave him a decision tree of all the rules to follow, and he's like always in the right leaf node. Like he is structured. He follows the rules. He does not get in trouble. So he's devastated. My wife is devastated. I go to talk to him to try to calm him down. He's in 2nd grade. I said, buddy, what happened today? He said, well, Dad, I got in trouble because I didn't do my homework. He's in 2nd grade. Who does homework in 2nd grade? Okay, buddy. Well, what was your homework? He said, Dad, I had to write 5 sentences in cursive, and I don't know how to write in cursive. And this really frustrated me. I try to be patient with my kid. I try to be patient, but this really when I first became a parent, I was 1,000% confident that it would be at least middle school before I did not know how to do my kids' homework. Cursive in the 2nd grade? Well, that's a doozy. So I showed him how to do homework. There's some students in the class, right? I showed him you guys know how to do homework? We go to a computer, we open up ChatGPT. ChatGPT can only write in sans serif fonts. ChatGPT doesn't know cursive. This voodoo teacher has found this loophole where this kid has to do his own homework. Dad can't help. That LLM can't help. He's just at a loss. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. I'm frazzled. I ask him, buddy, what was your punishment? What happened? You got in trouble today. He's never gotten in trouble before. He has no idea what it's like. So he thinks it's a big deal. He says, Dad, I had to stay after school and write on the board with the teacher. Okay, well, that seems pretty reasonable. got in a lot worse trouble than that. He said, Dad, I don't know how to write in cursive. What was I supposed to do? I said, well, what did Miss Ingle, this voodoo lady, what did Miss Ingle say? What did she do? He said, my kid does a great impression of Miss Ingle. She says, first, I know that you do not know how to write in perfect cursive. So first, I will write at the top of the blackboard. I will always turn in my homework on time, and I will write it in perfect cursive. I expect you to write directly under it, referring back to my perfect cursive, to mimic that cursive and write the sentence of your own. I expect you to write that sentence 10 times, each time referring back to the perfect cursive that you previously wrote. I said, oh, that's recursive. You guys are great. You know the general population doesn't really get that joke? Did you know that? You guys are on the tail of some distribution. That's good. You're doing all right. I'm on the tail of all the distributions, I think. Teaching is a blast. I think I enjoy teaching so much because I enjoyed school so much. I enjoyed being a student. I loved being a student. I got in trouble a lot more than my kid. But I oftentimes think what it was like back when I was a student. And we're not too far away from NC State. I can't help but reminisce about my time at NC State. And it's great. It's a great program, great time. The memory that keeps coming back to me is the first exams, those midterms exams in fall. And I had a really enjoyed that. I remember preparing for those exams, our first big exams, preparing. I had a group of close friends. We would study together. We'd study in the library. And we had a very specific methodology that we would use to study. There was about 5 of us. We'd all sit around the same computer, and we would pull up the Weather Channel, and we would track Hurricane Florence. Because our midterms exams were scheduled for Tuesday, and Hurricane Florence was set to make landfall on Monday. And so we spent all weekend at the library looking at the Weather Channel, looking at local news, looking at the apps that you can find. We were doing real data science. We were finding the right data that could support our hope that the storm would hit Raleigh, and it worked. I don't know if you remember Hurricane Florence, but it was power outages, huge, massive flooding across North Carolina, lots of property damage. It's beautiful. Just a dream come true. And so, I mean, the studying works. It's a great way to study. I didn't fail the test on Tuesday. Failed it on Thursday. Come on, it's 2 free days. We've done 2 free days. Look, I love NC State. I think this program is a fantastic program to study analytics. But when I talk to prospective students that are interested in analytics, I always recommend going to the California. I just think the California schools are just better for analytics. See, when you're predicting hurricanes, you got maybe 2 months out of the year that you can use that study methodology. An earthquake could hit finals, midterms, spring, holidays, doesn't matter. You could always predict an earthquake. So you go to California school, you're set. You know how to study. You're just reading the seismograph, seismology, the machine. I've never been to California. I've been lots of times. It's good. I graduated here from NC State, and I stayed in the Triangle. Love living in the Triangle. We stayed here. I actually moved with my family to Cary. We live in Cary. I grew up in Atlanta, which is an interesting tidbit because I'm the first person ever to move north into Cary, which is it's great. They're building a statue now. I love Cary. I love the Triangle. And I try to be aware of my biases. And I think the reason that I love living in the Triangle so much is because it's one of the few places with a geometry overlap. And it's the Triangle. It's named after a mathematical concept. But it's one that I understand. It's a basic shape. If there was a metro area called the differential equations, I would be far too intimidated to live there. But the Triangle, that's perfect for me. I love living in the Triangle. There's also the pentagon, but the haircuts, can't hack that. My parents live in the triangle now. They were a little bit less enthused about the triangle when they moved here. My mom said, why did they call it the triangle? So the triangle, it's 3 cities. You've got Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. And she looks skeptical, and she pulls out a map. It's like a GPS printed on a piece of paper. She says, where? So I point and said, Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. See, it makes a triangle. She said, no, it does not. I said, Mom, they're not in a perfect line. We're pretty liberal with what a triangle is. That's a triangle. And she said, but it's not a regular. It's like squished to the side. I said, let me tell you a little something about triangles. And felt like the sales director all over again. Although my mom makes a better argument. The sales director told me that, oh, I taught you everything you know about sales, but my mom really did teach me all about triangles. So maybe she's got a point. She's got a point there. I was, believe it or not, I thought of this joke before I got here. I'm not making this up on the spot. When I was researching for this joke, I wanted to know if there are other cities that are named, or maybe not cities, but metro areas that are named after basic geometry concepts. And of course, we got the Pentagon. And I asked ChatGPT, actually. ChatGPT told me, yeah, there's the triangle, there's the Pentagon, and there's quadrilatero. It's a region in Italy. It's made up of 4 cities. I was tickled. Oh, we got in the crowd. Okay, so we validated that as a real place. I was sure that was just made up by ChatGPT. Quadrilatero. Well, I get, like, the triangle is pretty loosey-goosey. Any 3 cities make a triangle, but a quadrilateral, I feel like that's a... And Mario, what do we call these 4 cities? We'll call them a square. Mario, these sides are different. We call it a parallelogram. Mario, these lines are not parallel. The Italian grade school must be way better than in America. I see some like wrinkled foreheads trying to think, what in the world is a quadrilateral again? I have no idea. These Italians, they actually know what a quadrilateral is. That's incredible. Yeah, well done. This is the most market research I've done on knowing if quadrilatero is actually a place. So I appreciate the from the crowd. Triangle's great. Triangle's great. Love living here. You got the beach. You got the mountains nearby. Mountains in wintertime is great. You can ski on the mountains. A lot of people don't know that because of how terrible it is here, but you can. You can ski. Data scientists are actually really good skiers. We do gradient descent all day. We just, okay, fine, you go do it on the mountain. You just hope it doesn't end in a crash. The mountains are beautiful in the other seasons as well. There's no snow. I love going to the mountains, a little getaway. I like to go fishing. I'm not an avid fisherman. I'm not a very good fisherman. But I love going out to the mountains, fishing the streams out there. I had a great trip last summer. I went in the middle of summer. It's much more mild out in the mountains. Mountains are that way. Towards Quadrilatero. It was sort of a celebration fishing trip. It was me and three buddies. The 4 of us had been working on this time series model. It was a real tough time series model. We finally built something that was okay. We delivered it. We wanted to celebrate. So the 4 of us, we decided to go on a fishing trip. We were forecasters. So we went out there. It was a 2-day trip. First day, caught nothing. Not a nibble, not nothing. It's not our fault. It never is when you catch nothing. We were using triangle gear. We need to use mountain gear. So the second day, we go to one of these, like the quintessential bait shop out in the small mountain town. And there's a lot of options. And we don't really know what to get. So we do a grid search. We try every possible combination of every possible fishing equipment. We got rods, reels, we got lines, we got hooks, we got sinkers, we got spinners, we got bait, And we should have known this already, but grid searches get quite expensive. So we asked one of the locals there, hey, do you have any idea, like, can you give some tips to a couple of out-of-towners? Local fishermen are always happy to give tips to out-of-towners. So this guy says, yeah, I built a model that tells you how to catch fish here. You're speaking our language. You built a model. All right. Okay, lay it on me. What is it? So he walks through. He's spec'd out this really great model. And he walks us through everything that we need. He tells us where to go, what time we need to go to fish, what we're going to be fishing for. And the last thing he says, he closes with, so the most important thing is the hook. You got to have a hook that's made of lead. If you don't have a lead hook, you're not going to catch anything out here. You need a lead hook. All these hooks, aluminum, copper, tin, not going to work. You need a hook of lead. I said, okay. So we got all the stuff he recommended, got the lead hooks, went out to his special place, didn't catch anything again. Nothing, not a bite, not a nibble. My buddy says, Evan, maybe we're just really bad fishermen. I said, nah. That guy's model just had a hook of lead bias. The person sitting next to you can explain it later. The triangle's great. I like being in the triangle, and I have a lot of things to compare it to. A lot of people say they like their city, but that's all they know. All they know is baseline. I get to travel a little bit for work. Last year I got a chance to go to the Mecca of data science, which of course is Dayton, Ohio. Oh, okay, very well. Put it on the list. We're going to go learn some whatever they used back in 1980, as I'm sure what they're using in Dayton, Ohio. No, the Mecca of data science, of course, is Las Vegas. No, it's not, of course. But it is the Mecca of like cheesy corporate conferences. And so that's why I went to Las Vegas. There's a machine learning conference. Went to Vegas. It's a great opportunity. Love it. I went out a day early, do a little gambling, get good and drunk. And the next morning, I woke up and I did not feel well. And I did not want to go to a machine learning conference. The last thing I wanted to do was go to a machine learning conference. I wanted to stay exactly where I belonged, which was laying in my hotel room on the bathroom floor. But I knew, see, I think ahead. I'm a preparer, I think ahead. I knew when I get back to the office, they're gonna ask me, Evan, what did you learn at the conference? So as I'm laying there, huddled around the toilet, I'm trying to think about what I can say that I learned at this conference that I have no intention of attending. And so the ideas just start coming in. I learned about a new Bayesian transformer architecture that uses autoregressive genetic algorithms for validating the cross-sectional rate of change. And as I spew this nonsense, I realize I'm kind of like ChatGPT. Now look, I don't know the answer to your question, but I do know a lot of words that are associated with this, and I can throw them all at you and hope that you don't follow up with any other questions. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was a real epiphany. And this may seem unbelievable, but I had another epiphany. Same hangover, 2 epiphanies. That's the most productive hangover. Well, that's the original hangover grossed $500 million. That's the most productive, but my 2 epiphany hangover was better than hangover 2 or 3. So it was pretty good. My second hangover, one hangover, just same one, it just lasted a long time. My second epiphany, I was getting introspective. I was looking at my reflection in the toilet bowl, and I thought to myself, this feeling that I'm feeling right now, this full body ache and nausea, this is exactly how an overfit model feels the first time it looks at validation data. The night before was training the model. That was the training data. That first drink that I ordered at the bar, that was adding the first feature to the model. So, Okay, let's feel that loss function start to go down a little bit. That feels pretty good. I kind of like that, all right? And what does it do when you start to see the loss function go down? What do you want to do? You want to add more features to the model. So I added some more features and some more. And by the end of the night, I don't even care what the features are. Any feature I have access to, just add it to the model, just pouring it in. And on the very best nights, you can get your training loss all the way to 0. And those are good nights. Those are feeling good. And then, of course, you've trained your model. Now it's Y test, Y Preds score model. And that run is your alarm clock going off. Oh, and it's just immediate. It hits you immediately. You know the feeling. It's terrible. It's worse than baseline, way worse than baseline. It doesn't matter how bad you feel, what kind of aches and pains, how important of a model this was, or how important of a conference this was for you to attend. The first thing you want to do when you see this awful, awful score, you want to scroll back up in the old Jupyter notebook. What was I thinking? So you scroll back up in your phone, you're looking at pictures from the night before. So, oh my gosh, and it's regret. It's, why did I do that? What was I thinking? That's not me. I'm so embarrassed. My friends are gonna see this. My colleagues are gonna see this model that I've trained. Look at it. I added string date as a categorical predictor. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so embarrassing. But you want to look through all the pictures. You want to scroll back through the entire notebook and just see how awful it feels. Machine learning is good. We've got a way to try to avoid overfit. We can try to regularize our models. Got a lot of different, depending on the model type, you got a lot of different ways. I've tried to make it a point to try to regularize myself a little bit from now on. I was at the bar and I had a few features already. I decided, I think I'll have a water. I'll order a water. I think I'll increase my dropout. I ordered some greasy fries. I said, okay, hey, perfect, some greasy fries. I think I'm gonna trim these trees a little bit. Yeah. All right, prune the trees. It's good. We can regularize ourselves as well. I did not that night in Vegas. I got good and drunk. But it wasn't my fault, as it usually isn't. I was going down to the hotel bar for one drink. That's all I was going to have, is just one drink. Okay, one drink. That's not getting overfit. That's a well-specified model right there. But it's a machine learning conference, and so I'm enjoying my one drink, and you're not going to believe who walks into the bar. Machine learning, I was just blown away, like my jaw dropped to the ground. Simple linear regression walked into the bar. Simple linear regression. Yeah, he came in, sat down at the bar. I was blown away. I was too scared to say anything. Bartender, like he knew him, said, hey, simple linear regression, how you doing? What can I get you? Simple linear regression said, I'll have an old fashioned. Because it's old fashioned. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great. I ended up working out the courage, started talking to him. We hit it off. It was great. Data Pipeline walks into the bar. Data Pipeline. Oh, it's a machine learning conference. There's all kinds of machine learning friends here. Data Pipeline. The bartender says, he knows this guy too. He says, hey, Data Pipeline, what can I get you? He said, I'll have whatever's on tap. There's pipes under there. I used to be a bartender. I was bad at that too. K Nearest Neighbors came in. I don't know what's it. K Nearest Neighbors came in, sat right next to me. Oh. Bartender says, hey, K Nearest Neighbors, what can I get you? He said, I'll have whatever this guy's having. There was a machine learning conference. There was a time series forecast that walked in. I was excited. There's not a lot of time series there, but a time series forecast walked in. I kind of didn't want to say anything, but I could tell it was a naive forecast. The bartender asked, said, hey, time series, what can I get you? And he sort of looked around and said, I don't really know. Can I just have whatever the last person ordered? Y'all should try more naive models. It's a good baseline to work with. Recommendation engine came in, sat down, people started asking him what to order. It was great. I got curious because I wondered how the bartender knows all these. The bartender, he's He's not a data science person. He's just a local here in Vegas. I was asking him, how do you know all these people? He really locked in as a bartender. He said, actually, I'm a data scientist too. I said, no way. What are you doing? What do you do in Tendon Bar? He said, I use data science in my job. You see, I use machine learning algorithms to help me discover new drinks. Well, I look at K nearest neighbor sitting here and data pipeline across the way from me. He said, well, serve us up one. Let's try one. I'm getting pretty overfit by this point. So he serves up the drinks. It's a nice little glass, ice, garnished, looks beautiful. I try it. It is pretty good. I said, wow, that's great. You used machine learning to develop this drink? Bartender says, yeah. I said, well, I guess that's good, but then how do you explain the taste? He said, lime. It was a good drink. It was a great drink. We had run off all of the Las Vegas locals. At this point, it was just machine learning folks here now. L1 distance, more of a mathematical concept than a machine learning friend. Not sure he's even welcome around these parts. He comes into the bar. I don't even know if the bartender is going to serve him. But he comes in, he sits down, he seems okay. Bartender says, L1 distance, what can I get you? He says, I'll have a Manhattan. That's my smartest one. That's the smartest one I got. L1 distance, Manhattan distance. You probably want to check a non-chat GPT reference if L1 distance is actually the same as Manhattan distance. I'm not sure. I was a terrible data scientist. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you.
I just got out of a show starring Evan Wimpey doing all kinds of analytics charts, and it was amazing. I laughed, I cried, I laughed again and again and again. It was awesome. The only thing I can say about Evan is he is a model comedian.